This morning we'll be looking at John chapter 20, verses 24 through 29. And last week we saw our risen Lord and Savior Jesus Christ appear to two of his disciples, or two of his followers, on the road to a town called Emmaus. And after breaking bread and sharing a meal with the two followers, did they finally recognize who the stranger was who was among them, and that it was Jesus. And the moment they recognized him, Jesus disappeared before their eyes. And then rather than waiting the next day, the two followers get up at that moment and they run back to Jerusalem, where they find the 11 and inform them of what they have seen. Once they have done giving their report to 11 about what they had happened to them on the road, what they had seen, what they had talked about, what they had heard from Jesus, Jesus finally appears to all those who gathered in the room, and they all see the risen Lord Christ. But there is a slight problem, because one of the 11 is not present at the appearance of Christ, and the disciple misses it. And we find out in John chapter 20, verses 24 through 29, who the missing disciple was. Now Thomas, also known as Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the risen Lord." But Thomas said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my fingers where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." A week later, his disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." May the Lord bless the reading of his holy word. You see, the disciple Thomas, or if you prefer his Greek name Didymus, which means twin, was not counted among the believers when Christ appeared to them in the room on the night that he had risen from the dead. Thomas missed the appearance. And we ask ourselves, how could Thomas miss such a momentous occasion by not being there? The truth is, we have no idea why Thomas missed this chance to see the risen Lord and Christ on the same day he rose from the grave. We have no idea, but that does not mean we let our imaginations go for a bit and allow us to think of some theories as for why he might have missed this chance meeting of Jesus' appearance. The theories range from Thomas was not believing because of fear and did not show up, to him being delayed as he was going to meet with the other disciples but was delayed for some reason, or he had a business meeting that actually went longer and he was stuck and he had to attend it longer than he wanted. But we just don't know why, and Thomas was not there. And it is only after the next day did Thomas find out that Christ had in fact risen from the dead and appeared to them. And they explained, the disciples explained to Thomas that they had seen the risen Lord. They tell him that he is risen, Christ is risen, just as the women who went to the tomb said he had been. Same as Peter, who went to the tomb and found it empty. And the two have come back from Emmaus telling us that Jesus walked and talked with them. Thomas could be feeling a multitude of emotions at this hearing of such good news. He could be feeling disappointment, sadness, anger, sorrow, loneliness, because he is the only one of the disciples who missed this glorious moment, who missed it completely, was left out. But instead, Thomas gives a reply to the news that Christ is risen in an almost defiant tone. And